Regular session of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas will now come to order. The time is 6:01 p.m. Item number 2 is the invocation, followed by the pledge. Invocation will be by Reverend Aguirre.
Dear God, we come before you at this time. We are just grateful for allowing us to just gather here today for this meeting. We ask that your peace in our hearts will be granted in our lives as we just trust in you and everything that's done today. We pray a blessing upon our mayor, our council members, and all their families, our city manager, and all his administration. We pray for the agenda, all the items will be guided by you, Father, and I pray that your will be done and everything that is done here today. In Christ's name, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hand over heart, face flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is the roll call. Ms. Prasivka.
Here.
Mr. Steins. Mr. Steins.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Mr. Best.
Here.
Mr. Floyd.
Here.
Mr. Wood.
Here.
One second here. Item number 4 is discussion action to appoint a council member to represent the citizens of District 6 as council member District 6. Nominations are in order.
Mayor,
Mr. Steins.
I would like to nominate Mr. Pippin.
Mr. Larry Pippen.
Yes, sir, Larry Pippin, yes, sir.
Any other nominations?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Prasivka.
I'd like to nominate Jeannie Israel to District 6.
Any other nominations? If there's no other nominations, nomination will close. I'll read the nominees back in the order they were presented. Raise your hand in favor. First is Mr. Pippin. Next is Ms. Israel. Mr. Pippin will be appointed. Let it, just as a note, Mr. Pippin is our representative to the appraisal district, and he's at that meeting right now. So we're going to dismiss agenda item number 5. Item number 6 is a consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular session of September 3rd, 2015, and item number B, approval of the replat for the Timber Hill Unit 2, lots 7 through 11 subdivision.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve consent agenda items A and B.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve consent agenda items number A and B. Any discussion?
Mayor.
Ms. Prasivka.
On B for the subdivision, is the flooding problem been addressed? Is that all?
Anytime it gets to this point, if Mr. Medding has approved it, he's already looked at that. Is that not the case? Yes. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure about Crestline. Okay.
He has, and you do recommend approval.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? None will proceed to the vote. In favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. Item number 7 is citizens' comments. If you are a citizen of or a taxpayer to the city, you may speak at this time. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Know that council and staff may not comment. We do have 2 people. Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez. Joe. You signed up to speak under citizens' comments?
Maybe just.
Oh, somebody signed you up to speak during citizens' comments. Okay. It actually looks like your handwriting.
Maybe just.
And Ms. Shannon, is it Vokey?
Yes. I live at 117.
If you'll come up to the podium and state your address, and what I'll do is when it gets to 2 minutes, I'll give you kind of a little heads up that you got a minute left.
My name is Shannon Vokey. I live at 117 Cynthia. We've been there for 3 years. We were gone all summer long, and when we came back, we had a $400 water bill. We do not have a leak at our house, and the next month we had close to a $500 water bill. Something that I have brought to the attention of the city. They said they could not help us except for making different payment arrangements. The issue that I'm having is that not just myself, but about at least 10 other neighbors that I've spoken to, there's been an influx, doubling, tripling, quadrupling of our water bills in that same Oak Forest neighborhood. Has this been an issue in the last month? We just got back, so I'm quite concerned that my water bills are going to continue to be inflated, and we're not using 70,000 gallons of water. Never have. We only have 5 people in our house, and our water bill has never been more than $200 in a drought. The issue that we're having is that we're not getting any help from the city when we go and talk to them about our water. We're giving a payment plan, but if it's not just our house, it's numerous people. And there's a Facebook forum for our neighborhood that it's been brought to their attention as well. I don't know who else lives in that neighborhood, but I know that I'm not the only person that's concerned about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? There is none. We'll go to departmental reports.
Public Works Director.
Voke, V-O-C-K-E.
Public Works Director's report will be given first, followed by the departmental report with Chief Sanchez, and we'll move from that point to the managers and mayor's message. Council.
Evening.
Department, the water plants are at 100%. Crews finished services on Virginia Street. They will now begin to relocate meters on Main Street in preparation for the sidewalks and the street CIP. On the water main project, our construction crew continues working on 476. They continue to face some challenges with the utilities and terrain, so it's taking them a little longer than usual. They're approximately 300 feet from the Havertide Road turn, where they'll start hitting some level ground there and start taking off. Wastewater plant is operating at 100%. Our plant crew continues to assist the utility department for potholing gas lines that have been located. Our street CIP project contractor continues to work on Cynthia Street and is presently working on the subgrade. Landmark has finished welding the inside of the tank, and the painters are scheduled to finish painting the inside of the tank. They're scheduled to be here on Wednesday, September 23rd. The street department continued mowing the drainages and right-of-way. And as far as the park department, they have worked on repairs to the infields at the sports complex. They mowed all the public buildings and pecan orchard along the riverbank. And also, I would like to thank J.W. Hughes. They have and his crews for the installation of our new fence around the pavilion, number 2, and the basketball courts. They installed approximately 700 feet of fencing, and that included 6 gates. That included that.
Questions?
Well, I just had something to say. This morning, my husband and I walked through the park, and I had never done that before, just for exercise. But anyhow, we noticed that the park was in very good condition. You know, it's wear, but the grounds were clean. We couldn't see anything wrong with the children's area, and I just like to say thank you for keeping that all very clean and presentable. Thank
They're
you.
working very hard. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Weezer.
Thank you.
Chief Sanchez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
Preparing for our 3rd annual National Night Out on Tuesday, October 6th. We're expecting a larger crowd than previous years, and again, we'd like to extend an invitation to Mayor Powell and all of the City Council and all of the community. We hope to see everyone there. We're in the early planning stages of our Blue Santa program. We're also planning a Silver Santa program for the elderly, so we can deliver warm socks to all of the nursing home patients in our city. Officer Daniel Zertuche obtained his Advanced Peace Officer certification. We now have 3 Master Peace Officers, 5 Advanced Peace Officers, and 1 Intermediate Peace Officers. The remaining officers are working on their certifications. Juan de Leon, our Animal Control Officer, will be at Tractor Supply on Saturday, September 19th from 9 a.m. to noon for the annual Paws event. He'll have dogs and cats available for adoption. Hope to see everyone there. And we will soon be delivering invitations to the members of the Downtown Merchants Association for a crime prevention workshop to be held soon and hosted by the Pleasanton Police Department. We ask that you please inform your constituents that we are readily available to participate in any community events that they're hosting. We'll be more than happy to participate if they'll give us a few days advance notice. And I will stand for any questions or comments, Mayor.
Questions for the chief?
Mayor.
Ms. Pacifica?
Is there a fee for adopting these dogs and cats? What is that fee?
There will be. You gotta get the rabies shot, and there'll be a vet on site there, and we can take care of that.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. We still have a registration program for animals.
Yes.
Could you explain that? Because I don't think enough people know that we have that.
Supposed to pay $2 to register each animal in the city. We've had I think we have 9 animals registered right now.
And that's just in case.
Or something like that, but.
Anyway, I didn't know if everybody knew that, but we do have a program.
And
that
we're
you can register
fixing
your
to
animal.
set up a pretty massive social media campaign to get the word out, because it's not that people don't want to do it, I think they just aren't aware of it, and that would be, that's something that we need to be better at.
Okay.
We'll take
9
care.
dogs is all you have at Ridge?
Yes, sir. It's either 6 or 9 in the whole city.
So we'll get the word out.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, item number 9 is the city manager's message.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
Wanted to talk with you a little bit about the budget and tax rate adoption ordinances that are in front of you tonight. We have concluded our presentation of a draft budget in June, the proposed budget in August. We've held the public hearings, first reading of both ordinances tonight's second reading, and hopefully possible adoption of the budget. I want to thank the department heads who started this process in February, turned in their wants and needs in April. And I want to thank Raquel and everyone in the office, including Christy and Raquel, for assisting me in putting this budget together. I have to tell you that it's been one of the best budgets I've been a part of in over 10 years. Raquel kept looking at the stack of draft budgets as we continued to revise and edit. And while she was at lunch today, I took them and shredded them. We went through 16 revisions of that budget in about 2 months. So my hat's off to you, Raquel. Our master plan, Pleasanton 2025, is our next item with the future land use assumptions and annexation. As you know, the future land use assumptions and annexations as recommended in that master plan and adopted by ordinance by the City Council. We were directed in April to begin another annexation process of neighborhoods proper to the city. The resolution will be in front of you all tonight, which will merely begin the process. I'll speak a little later about holiday schedules where that process is concerned, but it will take us up until the second meeting in December. So unfortunately, we'll not be able to ask for the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December off this year, but we will ask for the first meeting in January, and that'll be discussed just a little later in the message. Tonight in front of you all, and Andrew with Samco is here. He'll give you the details of an issuance of a 2015 refunding bond. This is not new debt. This is a bond that was issued in 2006, and after 10 years, we can do in what's called the financial world, call the bond, which means we're going to refinance it. And based on our AA credit rating from 2 years back that was upgraded 2 full notches, we feel like we can get a much better interest rate. And Andrew, thanks for being here. I want to add to that, Mayor, one of the closest friends and closest people that works for this city, Mark McClaney, is at home convalescing this evening over an accident dove hunting, and we want to keep our thoughts and prayers with Mark. He is a coveted member of this city, to say the least. And Andrew, if you would pass that along, we would certainly appreciate it. Our Parks Master Plan and the contract amendments, which included the feasibility study of expanding the old museum and the feasibility study of an arena and event center complex, is complete. The staff is reviewing that master plan right now. Mr. Weezar, Mr. Peterson, and I are looking at it. We hope in a week or so we can sit down and decide what we want to have changed in that, or some of the things we want to have more easily explained. Our schedule is tentative right now. We would hope to have it in front of the council for consideration by the end of October, but This process has taken some time, and we want to make sure we have it right, so when it's presented to the council, it's clear, it's explanatory, and it covers everything that all the citizens, the stakeholders, and the folks that came to the public meetings and the public hearings, as well as the Parks Commission, the input they had. We want to make sure that the emphasis is there. Information technology, security, and backup. You all also have a resolution in front of you this evening. Last year in the audit, Mr. Byer recommended that we have a formal policy on how we're going to back up all our information at City Hall, especially the proprietary information that deals with utilities, payroll, human resources, and all those types of things. That resolution this evening covers everything we need, not only from the security side, but the backup side on the servers at each building from the outside, and to the laptops and the personal computers with firewalls and viruses on the inside. We have a very high level of security on that system, and that's the number that's called out in the resolution. I might add that our system is backed up every hour on the hour to 2 off-site facilities, and there's a major backup every evening after business shuts down. That still doesn't stop us. We also carry 2 stick drives, if you will. You all might remember about 3 years ago, it became very evident to the staff and the council that we had no electronic record of all ordinances, resolutions, and minutes, and we began that process from 1917 forward. Those stick drives go home with 2 different individuals every night that has every ordinance, every resolution, and every meeting's minutes. So we have a little bit more of a backup by footwork and purses and pockets, if you will, as well. Council meeting schedules and the holiday schedule, I just bring it to you all's attention. Our regular holidays this year, as called out in the Employee Personnel Policy Manual, will be the days. We will, I think, recognize Christmas on a Friday, Christmas Eve, Christmas on a Monday, because those holidays fall on a Saturday and Sunday. Luckily, as we looked at it, every one of the holidays either fall on a Monday or a Friday this year, so I'm sure some of us will get some extended time off and well warranted. We just will mention too, Mayor, we're going to ask for the cancellation of the January 7th meeting to give the staff and the council the time to reflect on the holidays. Unfortunately, we can't ask to cancel the second meeting in November, like I mentioned, or the second meeting in December, because of the schedule and the hearings and the notices that we have to abide by in the annexation process. This evening, I just wanted to take a minute, and if the council, mayor and council, could indulge us for some pictures at the end of these presentations. We want to honor 2 of our finalists this evening. These 2 officers were involved in one of the commercial burglaries that went on here several weeks ago. They developed information pretty quickly. They located the defendant or the actor pretty quickly, swore out affidavits for arrest and arrest warrants through our Pleasanton Municipal Court and the magistrate. The warrants were issued for burglary of a building. These officers coordinated their efforts together to execute the search warrant, which included you don't call recess? These officers did not let that case go. They recovered a huge amount of property, and when they called the lieutenant and ultimately the word got to the chief, he said, "Take a picture and send it to me." Here they are. Andreas, he made you do that. Well, with that being said, the secret's out. Andre Vargas and Anastasio Perez are 2 officers that came to this police department in the near past. They have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt they not only deserve to wear the uniform, but they deserve to wear the Pleasanton Police Department uniform. And I can tell you that the chief is over there with his chest swelling. And I feel really good about these two officers, as we do all our officers. They work night and day. Holidays, Saturdays, Sundays, when we're at home with our families, these guys and the other guys and gals are out there. Let's not forget that. And in the midst of dealing with these types of crimes, the uncertainty of the people they're dealing with, they still find time to have a sense of humor. I don't know if I could do that. But my hat's off to them. Anastasio, Andre, if you all can come up here to set these flags. We'll speak there. Chief, I'd have to say that's spoken like a real Marine, isn't it? Council and Chief, could you indulge us for a couple pictures with y'all for just a second?
Easier to have this. Going against the grain.
Chief, come on down here. Y'all could wait just a second for the chief. We appreciate it. Get up in there.
Well done.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you all's recognition of our police force. I will tell you, in today's world, and especially in the uncertainties in society right now, and the unknown as far as the people that they deal with that they're not sure about, we all have to be vigilant. Our country and our society has changed so drastically in the last 5 years that you just never know. And my hat's off to them. We will continue, and the chief will continue to do everything he can to keep Pleasanton's identity the way this council and the citizens expect it. We all were heart-stricken, Mayor, by the burglaries that happened several weeks ago. Our folks have not let up. We're concerned when citizens and business owners say they have anxiety and in some cases fear. It should not be that way, but it's the reality. The chief put it best when he and I were talking several weeks ago when he said, we all should fear and be aware right now. We've got great people in this town, and we've got great leaders on that dais. And I am confident we have great department heads and great employees. With that being said, The chief and I have been visiting for several weeks. As I told one business owner this week, sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, and I appreciated her input. And she graciously said, Mr. Pearson, I got too emotional, we all did, and I appreciate you calling. To the other business owners, we want them to know that we're here for them. After speaking with the chief and having a meeting with Ms. Prosifka and a phone conversation with the mayor, we feel like the right thing to do is to hold a community meeting with our business owners. We will announce it in the near future. This idea was spawned from several different quarters. Ms. Prosifka, the chief, and I, Mr. Best spoke to me about it. The mayor has graciously asked to moderate it, and I think that would be a great idea. The chief will put a program together to discuss some of the things that we can all do as residents and business owners to stay vigilant. We will then, most likely in 2 different venues, post a sign-up sheet for those businesses that would like our detectives to come over and do a security audit to help them identify things that the normal layperson may not see as ways to gain entry to facilities, but the bad guys do. In speaking with that business owner this week and telling her that, she said I would wholeheartedly welcome that. And so we want to move forward with that tonight, and I want to assure anybody that's here tonight and the business owners that are here that we're here for them. The number one point in our strategic guide adopted by the council after customer service is first and foremost is that our citizens must feel safe and their properties being protected. And that goes strictly to police and fire. If we do not have security and we do not feel secure in our homes and businesses, we will fail to have a free democratic society, and the republic will be no more. So I'm going to end this with that. I know that there were a lot of raw emotions. I will discuss that in executive session under duties and responsibilities later, but make no mistake about it. When these things happen in our city, our police department gets really offended, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. Please support them. Let's make sure we have all the facts, and please show a confidence in them and the way they investigate crimes. These guys and gals know what they're doing. We have the finest in South Texas because they're not here for a paycheck. They're here because they care and it's a passion. And I am confident we have the best chief in South Texas because he's a man of nothing but integrity and accountability. Mayor, I'll stand for any questions and comments.
Questions for Mr. Pearson?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Best?
Mr. Pearson, I think a lot of what you said, you're very well spoken, very, very proud of some of your comments. Our town, we're one big family, whether we're working over here in the city or we're out in the community, and sometimes we don't visit each other enough. And sometimes, families are that way too. So this is a way for the city, that part of the family, to get out to the part of the community and come together. And I'm just very proud of the people from the community and the people of the city that are coming together and making this happen. And it's just a great time to be in Pleasanton.
Absolutely. And Mr. Best, I will just add, for our visitors here tonight for the first time, or maybe for the first time in a long time, this is not new to this council. There are previous council members that are sitting out here tonight that we hope to carry the legacy on. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And if you look at some of the items on this agenda, and if folks stay around long enough tonight to see some of the things that are on this agenda for consideration, you'll see we're in the people business. We're in the people business. And there's one lady here tonight that you're going to hear from, that I spent personal time with this week, and I'm going to tell you, I care about this lady, and I care about what she's trying to do, and you'll see how the staff is trying to recognize and help her, which can lead to helping to other citizens. But there's other things on this agenda. Ms. Moore, I thank you for coming. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10 is the mayor's message and announcements. I have none, so we'll go to agenda item number 11 is presentation and discussion. To issue Texas Government Refunding Bonds Series 2015 in reference to the calling of 2006 certificates of obligation. Mr. Friedman.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. As Mr. Pearson alluded to in his message, we have an opportunity before us to refund our savings, our certificates of obligation series 2006. And what I'm handing out here is a preliminary number run that I'll go through with you briefly. The first page details the bonds or the certificates of obligation that we're looking to refund. You can see their maturities 2017 through 2027, and they total $3,875,000 worth of bonds. They're callable beginning February 1, 2016. One of the first questions you might ask is, we just issued certificates of obligation. Why didn't we do this at the same time? And it's because of that February 1st, 2016 call date. We have to get close enough to that call date to be able to pursue it. And so we're having to do this separately. One of the things that we intend to do is issue this via private placement, soliciting this to local banks and regional banks to buy and hold for their own portfolio. It's a competitive process whereby they submit their bids on a certain day, and the low bid will be awarded the sale. We'll be able to avoid putting together an offering document and going after a bond rating, and it's just a smoother process, an easier process. Also is going to save us quite a bit of money to issue them via private placement than we would with a preliminary official statement and a public bond sale, but we'll still get a very, very good rate, as good or better than we would get via a competitive bond sale as we've done with our larger COs. With that, behind the first page, flipping to page 3, you'll see the sources and uses. We're going to issue $4,025,000 worth of bonds. We'll have cost of issuance as well, and that cash deposit, that's the amount of money we will have to put in an escrow account in order to redeem those Series 2006 bonds. We've run this. If you flip to page 4, you see the rate and the yield there at 2.5%. In today's market, we would do better than that. We've wanted to look at this on a conservative basis in the event that interest rates start to rise on us over the next month. We don't anticipate a lot of market movement. You may have noticed today the Federal Reserve came out. They've decided to hold rates at 0 or near 0 into the foreseeable future now. The economists are saying that we won't see a rate hike until March of 2016, so we're confident rates are going to stay roughly where they are. They could tick up, they could sell off a little bit. Time will tell, but we're confident that we're going to be able to meet or beat this 2.5%. If you flip over to page 6, the crux of the analysis is the savings page. Second column from the right details the annual savings we would see if we were able to lock in a rate of 2.5%. That's roughly $25,000 a year for 12 years, a total of $271,000 of savings net to the city. That's after cost of issuance. So if we beat 2.5%, we'll see that number increase. And then finally, on the very last page, I've included a timetable of events for you. It starts with the September 17th meeting authorizing the parameter sale of the bonds. We would look to price these on October 15th. Your action tonight is actually a bond sale whereby you're authorizing the city to proceed with the sale of the bonds. We would be designating members of your staff as the pricing officers, where they would sign off on the ultimate pricing. What this does is it gives the financing team the ultimate flexibility to choose when we want to go and receive those bids so that we're not tied to a certain council date, because rates could be a little higher than we'd like to see on that Thursday. So this will allow us to take action quickly, receive bids at a time that's best for the interest rates, not for the meeting date. That would designate Mr. Pearson and Ms. Bandy as the pricing officers, so they would see the final rates. They would know that they've met the parameters that we're adopting tonight, the parameter which is savings greater than 5% or better, and they would not be able to lock in a pricing if we didn't meet those parameters that we're adopting this evening.
Okay.
With that, I'm happy to answer any questions or go into more detail if you'd like, but that is all I have, Mr.
Mr.
Andrew,
Mayor.
did you mention how much this AA rating has saved the city in the last two issuances?
I did want to bring that up because it makes a sizable difference. Mr. Pearson and I visited about this over the last several weeks. We've saved now, going back a couple of years now, we had our rating increased from A+, 2 notches, to AA. What that allows us to do, and the higher your credit rating, the lower the interest rate that you pay. It's similar to your credit score and your personal finances. Once we made it past AA- into AA, we're able to borrow without having to buy bond insurance, which is a product that allows us to use the bond insurer's credit rating, which is a AA, but you pay a premium payable up front, roughly $35,000 or $40,000 when you go to borrow. We've been able to avoid that on our last 2 bond issues. This would be our third, where we don't have to purchase bond insurance, and we get to borrow at a rate at or better than we would have gotten with those bond insurers. So I did a little bit of math looking at our last 2 bond issues and this one. Aside from any of the savings, we will have saved over $500,000 in the last 2 years on interest that we're not having to pay because we got a better borrowing rate as a result of that one upgrade 2 notches. So it's something that you should be very, very proud of. It's something that's given to the city based on strong financial performance and managerial performance from your staff, and also you as a council taking the right actions, putting together policies and implementing policies that will impact the city for a long time to come. So kudos to you all. I did want to point out that it has an economic impact to you when you do go to borrow.
Questions, council? Oh, Mr. Wood.
Whenever you sell this bond and we buy the new one, are you saying that we will not buy a new bond give a new bond unless it's 2.5 or lower?
Not the rate. We're going to commit to a present value savings percentage. And if you look on page 7 of this attachment, and I should have pointed this out as I went through these numbers, the second number from the bottom, the percentage savings of refunded bonds on this analysis is 6%. We're setting a parameter to meet at least, and I believe the number is 5%.
Other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve the issuance of Texas Government Refunding Bonds, Series 2015, in reference to the calling of a 2006 Certificate of Obligation.
Moved and seconded to issue Texas Government Refunding Bond Service 2015 in reference to the calling of the 2006 Certificate of Obligation. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Wasn't to be approved?
no action.
The resolution is down in ordinances and resolutions to move forward.
Discussion.
I rescind my motion.
All right, any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Item number 12 is ordinances and resolution. Item number A is the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 15-1151, adopting the budget for the city of Pleasant, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2015 and ending September 30th, 2016. Ordinance number 15-1151 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas, adopting the budget for the city of Pleasanton, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2015 and ending September 30th, providing for the inter and interfunds and department transfers, and providing for the investment of city funds.
Mr. Mayor,
Best.
I move to adopt ordinance number 15-1151, adopting the budget for the city of Pleasanton, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2015 and ending September 30th, 2016.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 15-1151, adopting the budget for the city of Pleasant, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2015 and ending September 30th, 2016. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Ordinance is adopted. Item number B is second reading and adoption of ordinance number 15-1152, approving the ad valorem tax rate of .489770 per $100 valuation for FY 2015-2016, providing for the use and support of the municipal government and providing for an interest and sinking fund. And ordinance number. I'm getting there.
You guys know what page it's on?
That would help.
Andres?
152.
152.
52, excellent. Thank you. Ordinance number 15-1152 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas, levying taxes for the use and support of the municipal government and providing for the interest and sinking fund for the year 2015-2016 and appropriating each levy for the specific purpose, providing for the collection and deposit of taxes, establishing a discount for early payment, and establishing a homestead exemption for those 65 years of age and older.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to adopt ordinance number 15-1152, approving the ad valorem tax rate of .489770 per $100 valuation for fiscal year 2015-2016, providing the use and support of the municipal government and providing for the interest and sinking fund.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 15-1152, approving the ad valorem tax rate of .489770 per $100 evaluation for FY 2015-2016, providing for the use and support of the municipal government and providing an interest in sinking fund. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Ordinance is adopted. Item number C, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 15-1153, setting a stop sign at the intersection of Colony and Gateway Drive. Ordinance number 15-1153 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas, setting a stop sign at the following intersection, setting a penalty for violation, and repealing ordinances in conflict.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to adopt ordinance number 15-1153, setting a stop sign at the intersection of Colony and Gateway Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 15-1153, setting a stop sign at the intersection of Colony and Gateway Drive. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Ordinance is adopted. Item number D is reading and adoption of ordinance number 15-1154, authorizing the issuance of City of Pleasant, Texas general obligation refund bonds, Series 2015, levying a tax and payment thereof, authorizing the redemption prior to maturity of certain outstanding obligations, providing for the award and sale of said obligations according to certain parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto. And ordinance number 15-1154 is an ordinance of the an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of Pleasanton, Texas general obligation bonds, Series 2015, levying tax and payment thereof, authorizing the redemption prior to maturity of certain outstanding obligations, providing for the award and sale of said obligations according to the certain parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to adopt ordinance number 15-1154, authorizing the issuance of City of Pleasanton, Texas general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2015, levying a tax and payment thereof, authorizing the redemption prior to maturity of certain outstanding obligations, providing for the award and sale of said obligations according to certain parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 15-1154, authorizing the issuance of City of Pleasant, Texas general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2015, levying a tax and payment thereof, authorizing the redemption prior to maturity of certain outstanding obligations, providing for the award and sale of said obligations according to certain parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Ordinance is adopted. Do you have that with you?
Yes, they're all with Chris Terry.
You can get it to me just so I can make sure that because it's not in my packet. Item number E is first reading and adoption of ordinance number 15-1155, amending ordinance number 14-1117, establishing a 10-year exclusive franchise agreement with BFI Waste Services of Texas, DBA Allied Waste Services of San Antonio, DBA Republic Services of San Antonio, with applicable fees and services. Ordinance number 15-1155 is an ordinance awarding an executive franchise agreement contract within the city of Pleasanton and its jurisdictional boundaries, Atascosa County, Texas, to BFI Waste Services of Texas, LP, DBA Allied Waste Services of San Antonio, DBA Republic Services of San Antonio, Inc., of establishing a term for the exclusive franchise contract, establishing the responsibilities of the contractor city and its customers in the collection and disposal of solid waste, providing for the enforcement for the collection and disposal of the solid waste, establishing rates and payments for collection of solid waste, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract, providing for severability of other legal rights, providing an effective date, and repealing all ordinances with solid waste provision in conflict, and promoting the safety and general welfare of the community. Item number F is reading and adoption of resolution number 146-15 concerning the intent of annex property within the city of Pleasanton's ETJ, establishing a timeline to include public hearings and direction of staff to carry out administrative requirements as required under Texas Local Government Code 43.062. Resolution number 146-15. Is a resolution, thank you, of the city of Pleasanton, Texas, declaring its intent to annex certain properties within the extraterritorial jurisdiction and establish a place, time, date to hold public hearings for citizens relating to the annexation of same property, directing staff to carry out certain administrative requirements as required under the Texas Local Government Code 43.062 and establishing a date for the intention of the annexation proceedings.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to adopt resolution number 146-15 concerning the intent to annex property within the city of Pleasanton's ETJ, establishing a timeline to include public hearings and direction to staff to carry out administrative requirements as required under Texas Local Government Code 43.062.
Been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 146-15 concerning the intent to annex property within the city of Pleasanton's ETJ, establishing a timeline to annex property within the city. Reading it twice. Establish a timeline to include public hearings and direct city staff to carry out administrative requirements as required under Texas Local Government Code 43.062. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Resolution is adopted. Item number G is reading and adoption of resolution number 147-15 establishing an information security policy and backup recovery procedure policy. Resolution number 147-15 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pleasanton, Texas, setting an information technology security policy to include a backup recovery procedure for the city and Pleasanton Computer Network.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to adopt resolution number 147-15 establishing an information security policy and backup recovery procedure policy.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 147-15 establishing an information security policy and a backup recovery procedure policy. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Resolution is adopted. Item number 13 is discussion action to grant a variance of ordinance number 15-1145 for 110 Crestline Drive.
Mayor, City Council, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to discuss the variance to grant for 110 Crestline fees for a tap from 2012-50. In my environment, we're always trying to help people. Sometimes we upset people, sometimes people are happy. Miss Moore came to us, and this is Miss Moore. I'd like to introduce Miss Moore. She lives on 110 Crestline. She came to us trying to do construction, and with her knowledge in our environment, dealing with contractors, she was seeking our help. And this is when it makes the job rewarding, because you try to help them, let them know what the contractor needs to do, and it can get overwhelming with all the information they're taking in, and they're taking in, and they're taking in. And when they're trying to do a driveway and then a fence, it seems like a simple job, but when you have setback ordinances and you're trying to make sure that they're bidding on their property, not somebody else, because down the road they could get into a conflict. And so we advocate for not only y'all, the citizens, but people that come in and need our help. Contractors are familiar with it, but the layperson's not. Ms. Moore expressed that she wanted to install a sprinkler system. You know, she's trying to do some upgrades, driveway. fence, security. She lives by herself. So now her husband passed away, so now it's up to her to maintain the household. So with this, we're coming to this, and you would like to come up and speak or anything? And I think this is a good thing for us to do.
Mr. Mayor and the council and
Evening.
members and guests. I'd like first to thank Mr. Haley and Mr. Rainey for helping me out. I didn't really want to ask for any help, but I just felt like, well, the opportunity was there. So I was talking to the city manager, and I made a proposal. And then he said that they would ask me if I'd like to appear at the council and bring that up. And anything that, any way that they could, or you could consider my request, I'd appreciate it. And I also want to thank the mayor and all of the council members and all of the family of city employees. Couldn't be better. And in this, my personal position right now in dealing with them, they could not have been better, more accommodating and courteous and helping me any way they possibly could. And I appreciate that very much. And I know my husband would appreciate it also if you were here. And thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to grant a variance to Title V, Public Works, Chapter 50, Utilities in General, Section 50.03, Water and Sewer Taps to reduce the cost of a 1-inch tap from $2,000 to $1,250 for 110 crest line.
Second.
Second, to direct city staff to grant a variance of Title V, Public Works, Chapter 50, Utilities in General, Section 50.03, Water and Sewer Taps to reduce the cost of a 1-inch tap from $2,000 to $1,250 for 110 crest line. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor,
Mr. Best?
or I'll defer to Mr.
Mr. Best, you have the floor.
Okay. One of the things I'd like to see, and I talked with Mr. Pearson about this, is sometime in the future when it's the best logistical time, is maybe to have a little moratorium and allow everybody to kind of get a little, get that benefit. Because I know when we first moved here, we had the opportunity to get a very good deal before the prices kind of got high. But then we've got a lot of other people didn't get to enjoy that. So I'm just making that comment. I'd like us to kind of be on the watch for that and see when it would be a good time to do a moratorium to kind of enjoy a little bit of a break on that.
You'd like to touch on that?
That's a great idea, and it kind of spurred, that idea was spurred by this situation, and, you know, it's about the relationships, and I met this young lady out in the lobby one day waiting for Mr. Rainey, and began to talk to her, and then Mr. Rainey came in and we called her back. But it did spur that idea that Mr. Best and I talked about. Now, we can't do a tap for $600, which is what was offered 4 years ago, because we can't lose other ratepayers' money. But what we can do is offer the tap at our cost, and that's what this is. And we think it would be a good idea, and you'll probably see us coming back to council to ask for the variance for anybody who wants to put a dedicated irrigation meter in 1-inch service with a $1,250 fee, as long as brass and things like that don't go out of sight. And we would like to consider, and I need to speak with Mr. Weezer about it more, but we think somewhere between December 1st and April 1st of each year, when we have a little more downtime and we'll have a little more accommodation. Now, that's residential only. Any kind of commercial is going to have to hire a utility contractor to do this. This is for the residents. So we will be coming back before you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Flores?
I had the same idea about
Okay.
there are possibly other citizens that could want the same type of thing, and we ought to make ourselves available for that.
Well, we did do that about, 5 years ago? Something like that? Yep. Any other discussion? Not, we'll proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, council.
Item number 14 is discussion action negotiate a lease agreement for 321 North Main Street. Mr. Pearson.
Mayor and council, as you all know, or may not know, some of the new members of the council, this last year, or this particular year we're in and about to finish, one of our planning objectives was to move community development services into the old library. We saw the need for that at that time when the budget was put together last June and ultimately approved. But as oil prices began to drop and we didn't see the residual of what it was going to do to our building permits until just recently, we took a deep breath. We called time out. We could not see taking on another utility bill that was unneeded at that point and spending taxpayers' money just to move those folks over there. As we said here today, we have seen a reduction in plats, some reduction in building permits, but we expect that to pick up here pretty quickly, especially with the $67 million school bond that's before us, and we're about to issue the first plats for some of those buildings and renovations. With that being said, we all know that any building that sits empty is not good. It's like our vehicle sitting in the garage and never running. So, in much of the same spirit as this town is about helping people and offering in-kind services to groups that do help people, and I'll just kind of, the brief history is this council contributes to Atascosa Crisis Center each year. This council has been contributing in-kind service to CASA for years. We all know the beautiful facility that turned out in the proverbial White House behind the old library, and they had a grand opening yesterday, and I was quite pleased to see the state president of CASA come from Austin for that. She mentioned that the facility is one of the finest in a town our size that she's visited. So with that being said, I had a discussion, our office had a discussion with members of the Women's Club about a week ago, and they're losing their thrift store house up on Bryant. And they said they had outgrown it to boot. And they asked me, did we have anything, and could the old library be considered? And I thought, absolutely. And they briefed me on some of the things they do. We had a young man in Pleasanton that got an academic scholarship this last year, and as they visited him at his mom's home, he was about to leave for school with one shirt and one jacket. That young man has a nice wardrobe. He's going to school and he can be proud in. They do a lot more efforts than that in reference to some scholarships and just their general helping spirit, back to what Mr. Best said about a community of family. They even offered, as you know, we negotiate pretty straight down the line here and work contracts, but they even offered that they could afford somewhere between $300 and $500 a month rent, which would mean it would be a partial in-kind service. I told them they would, have to assume the utilities. We would consider it much like the White House, where we would mow the yard and take care of that, any kind of major repairs. But we're asking tonight to give us consideration and direction to bring a lease agreement back that is satisfactory with the staff for council consideration and possible adoption. What's key here is that this lady said, Mr. Pearson, we know you all might use that building in the future. We would only request a one-year lease at a time, so the city would have the flexibility if they need to get in that building if things change. We would understand. I think that's a heck of an offer. They almost feel like they have enough clothes and enough goods to fill up half to three-quarters of the facility now. So we would ask for direction tonight, Mayor. The recommendation from staff, and your options are in front of you, is to negotiate a lease agreement that is acceptable to the staff to bring back in front of the council for possible adoption, consideration and possible adoption, to allow the Women's Club to lease the facility at 321 North Main for the next 12 months between $300 and $500 a month. I'll stand for any questions.
Yes, Mr. Pearson, the fees, you mentioned two separate amounts of fee paid on this issue, this item. how's this, we gonna work it out to approve the amount of the request of what they, or what they're willing to pay, or it's gonna be up to us to decide what payment to pay?
We would just negotiate what we think is a fair agreement, Mr. Sines. It would still be the council's discretion to approve that agreement. Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to direct city staff to bring a lease agreement acceptable to the Women's Club and city staff for consideration by the city council for a one-year lease at 321 North Main.
Second.
Moved and seconded to direct city staff to bring a lease agreement acceptable to the Women's Club and the city staff for consideration by the city council for a one-year lease at 321 North Main. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I just want to add that the Women's Club, one of the things that struck me that was so remarkable is their interaction with the other charities. You don't always see that amongst charities. They're sometimes in silos and very isolated. But the Women's Club is very supportive of other charitable groups. So when you support the Women's Club, a lot of times you're supporting other groups within town too. And I thought it was important to mention that.
That's a good point. And I might add, I did mention that the chief would probably come around to speak to him about Blue Santa. So.
Other discussion? Not, we'll proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 15 is discussion action to accept a recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board to accept alternative 2 for the Pleasanton Municipal Airport. The Advisory Board met a couple of weeks ago, and I think 2 weeks ago, and came up, if you see in the packet, and there's also up on the screen there, they gave us how many different ones? 6 different, and the Airport Board is I think alternative 2 fits. We did find out that we've talked to the state senator in helping kind of work with us on getting this done. But that's the recommendation from the board. Mr. Rodriguez, is there anything you'd like to add as a representative?
That's it. We did meet with, like you said, with Senator Risky. I think we have some support from him to kind of stop them from keeping the goalposts being moved, he said. And I think we just need some action now and getting what we need to do to make this happen.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Best.
I move that the city council accepts and endorses the selection of alternative 2 for the runway realignment at the Pleasanton Municipal Airport and directs alternative 2 to be incorporated in the overall airport layout plan.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the endorsement and endorse the selection of alternative 2 for the runway realignment at Pleasanton Municipal Airport and direct alternative 2 to be incorporated in the overall airport layout plan. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
about a month or so ago, I was eating breakfast with my wife and son, and we noticed that there was a courtesy car outside from the airport, and there were a couple fellows there eating breakfast. So I asked him, I said, well, how do you like the airport? And the fella was from Houston, and he was, he really enjoyed the courtesy car and was very happy. But he made a real point to tell me that you need your runway about 1,000 feet longer, and you need to sell jet fuel, because it even affected his ability, but he was going to purchase his next plane because he wanted another jet, and he couldn't do it because he couldn't land his jet in Pleasanton. He has to land in San Antonio and drive all the way over there. So my point here is this is not just expanding a runway. This is economic development. We have a little bit of a lull in our economy right now, and now's the time to try to get these things done and fixed and ready to go. So when these guys with the big money bags want to come into town, and they can land here, and you can bet that a few of them will look around and say, hey, there's some places here I might invest. So, and this is the place they want to come. They don't want to go to San Antonio. So this is a really, really important issue, and I just wanted to share that so you guys could understand that its impact and potential. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Flores.
What's the timeline on making this improvement?
We won't know. We met with the senator. What happened was about 2 years ago, they told us it'll be a couple of years. Well, we kind of got to this point where we're about to make a proposal to them, and they said, well, it'll be a couple of years. I think what Mr. Pearson was told was it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I called, I didn't like that answer very much, so called the state senator and the state representative, and they've both agreed to support it. They see the need for it. Right now, under current regulations, we're not even in compliance, but we're grandfathered. As far as these zones, you see those zones off the end, the red? At our existing, the way we are right now, if you look, can you go back one page? Do you have that on there? Well, that one shows kind of our, I believe, our current configuration. These safety zones, we don't even, I mean, that's not even incorporated in our current runway. So this would not only improve the safety and put us in compliance with current regulations, it would also do everything that Mr. Best put very well. So, and create jobs probably for the city, possibly. But anyway, that's kind of we're waiting to hear back. In fact, we're going to talk to TxDOT, who would be doing this here probably in the next week, and get a better idea of when that's going to happen. Other discussion? None will proceed to the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 16 is discussion and action to improve temporary street closures for the annual Cowboy Homecoming Parade from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. Saturday, October 24th, 2015. Chief, you agree?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve temporary street closures for the annual Cowboy Homecoming Parade from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday, October 24th, 2015.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve temporary street closures for the annual Cowboy Homecoming Parade from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. on Saturday, October 24th, 2015. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 17 is discussion and action to allow the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce temporary street closure of East Hunt Street between North Chapman and North River Street from 6 p.m. on Thursday, the 22nd, October 22nd, 2015, until 2 a.m., October 23rd, 2015, for the 50th Annual Cowboy Homecoming Festival Kickoff Street Dance, which will be held at Cadobe's. Chief, no problems?
No problem, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Best.
I move to approve to allow the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce the temporary street closure of East Hunt Street between North Chapman and North River Streets from 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 22nd, 2015 until 2 a.m., October 23rd, 2015 for the 50th Annual Cowboy Homecoming Festival Kickoff Street Dance, which will be held at Cadobe's.
Second.
Moved and seconded to allow the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce a temporary street closure of East Hunt Street between North Chapman and North River Street from 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 22nd, 2015 until 2 a.m., October 23rd, 2015 for the 50th Annual Cowboy Homecoming Festival Kickoff Street Dance, which will be held at Cadobe's. Any discussion? And Chief, and you said no problems, right?
No problem, sir.
None. We'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 18 is discussion action to approve the use of the River Park Pavilion for police department personnel to assist in the annual Cowboy Gallop at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 24th, 2015. Any problems, Chief?
There, Sue is here to answer any questions. No.
You should have been asking for tacos tonight.
Right? No problems, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve the use of the River Park Pavilion and Police Department personnel to assist with the annual Cowboy Gallop from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 24th, 2015.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the use of the River Park Pavilion for the police department personnel to assist in the annual Cowboy Gallop from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 24th, 2015. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 19 is discussion action to renew the agreement to provide record service and vehicle service. Chief.
We've checked, all three are in compliance. They've all, Johnny's, Jeff's, and Budget, they're all in compliance, and they've all provided good service in the past. I recommend we renew their contract.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve the renewal of the agreement to provide record service and vehicle service.
Second? Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded to renew the agreement to provide record service and vehicle service. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item number 20 is discussion action to award the city depository services for a 2-year period. Ms. Bandy.
Good evening. I would like to discuss the city depository service for a 2-year period. Security State Bank was the only bank that submitted a bid out of 8 local banks in Pleasanton. I mailed out our RFP to the local Pleasanton banks along with advertising in the Pleasanton Express for 2 weeks to ensure a competitive interest rate for the city. Security State Bank submitted a 0.10% interest rate along with all bank fees and bank charges waived. Even though the percentage rate is lower from our current annual interest rate, we have a great relationship with Security State Bank and feel confident in continuing to use them as our depository. My options are listed below, and I would like to direct the city staff to approve the bid for Security State Bank to be our depository for the next 2 years, beginning October 1st, 2015, and ending September 30th, 2017.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Best.
I move to approve to direct the city staff to approve the bid for the Security State Bank to be our depository for the next 2 years, beginning October 1, 2015, and ending September 30th, 2017.
Moved and seconded to direct the city staff to approve the bid for Security State Bank to be our depository for the next 2 years, beginning October 1st, 2015, and ending September 30th, 2017. Any discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Bandy.
Can I please introduce, we have the CFO from Pearsall, and he's Executive VP, Larry Neal.
I just want to thank the mayor and the council. We really appreciate the relationship that we have with the city of Pleasanton. We enjoy working with y'all. Mr. Pearson has a fantastic staff. We went through some rough times. We went through a core conversion a few months ago at our bank, and we appreciate the patience on the part of the staff in working through some very, very difficult situations and issues. But Mr. Pearson and the staff were very cooperative, helped us. And also, Mr. Mayor and Council, I'd like to compliment y'all on one thing. I appreciate the support that we get from the city of Pleasanton Police Department. We're in a lot of communities in South Texas, and it's unequal here. And I think y'all need to appreciate what you have. When we have a problem, they are quick to respond. They come to our aid, and they investigate. And we appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item number 21 is discussion action to direct the city staff to apply for Pleasant, Texas to become a film-friendly Texas certified community. Mr. Best.
Mr. Mayor, this particular item, I think, has had some legs before, but just didn't get up off the ground. So I'm trying to bring it back to fruition. And what it really means is when you're a certified city, you go on a list with the Texas Film Commission, and one of the things you do is you take different photos of different places that would be really good for a movie to come in and be shot in your community. And you also list movies that were previously shot here. So for instance, Sugarland Express, for those that don't know, was shot here in 1974 with Goldie Hawn and Don Johnson, and Steven Spielberg was the director. So that would go on that list. The cost is around $100 for a workshop, someone going up there, understand what's going on. And it's another way to help market our city and get out there and let people know who we are and what we got and what a wonderful place we have. So.
Okay. Mr. Sines.
I remember that, when they were filming over here in Pleasanton, I had my shop in Northtown. And I really did appreciate them putting my barbershop in that movie. No, there were no kickbacks. Good thing I wasn't a councilman, but still, I would deeply, according to the after effects of the film and everything, I got to meet Goldie Hawn, Ben Johnson, and all those guys that were in the film. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of interest. The public really did enjoy, the citizens of Pleasanton, and everybody that came from different places. And, I mean, I was hoping that someday they would come back and film again. And I would be the first one standing there taking my picture after 1972, was it?
74.
74, okay. So, no, I would really deeply support it because it's something of interest for everybody. It was for me. I didn't have to pay nothing. Very conservative.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Vest,
Or, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
you have the floor.
Okay, well, I was going to make the motion. I move to direct city staff to apply for Pleasanton, Texas to become a film-friendly Texas certified community.
Second?
It's moved and seconded to direct city staff to apply for Pleasant, Texas to become a film-friendly Texas certified community. Any discussion? Mr. Wood?
1974, I was a senior when they did this movie down here. Goldie Hawn, so it was great. But in later years, whenever they had a movie that John Dunton was in also in Taylor, Texas, which is where I used to go when I worked for the railroad. And they were there for about 3 weeks. And the people and the economic money, taxes that they brought in just for them 3 weeks, this friend of mine, he was on city council. He told me that it was just unbelievable. So I think this will be a very, very good move. Thank
Any
you.
other discussion? None will proceed to the vote. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Regular session of September 17th is hereby recessed to hold an executive session pursuant of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, as it pertains to consultation with Attorney 551.071. Executive session matters may be discussed and acted upon, if appropriate, in open session. Time is 7:18 p.m. Regular session of the City Council of the City of Pleasant, Texas will hereby reconvene. The time is 7:28 p.m. After consultation with an attorney in recess, not in executive session, we realized that the item was put under 551 subchapter D, Chapter 551 subchapter D, and it's 551.071, which is consultation with an attorney. It was supposed to be 551.074. So we've consulted with him in recess, and he said just go back out, explain the situation, and then do what I'm about to do. The regular session of September 17th is hereby recessed to hold an executive session pursuant of Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, as it pertains to personnel matters, 551.074. Executive session matters may be discussed and acted upon if appropriate in open session. Time is 7:29 p.m. The regular session of the City Council is hereby reconvened. The time is 8:03 p.m. If there's no objection, I'm going to dismiss agenda item number 25. None, we'll dismiss it. Item number 26, review of the bills.
Yes, sir.
There is none. We'll move on to item 27.
Mr. Mayor,
Best.
I move to adjourn.
Moving second, we adjourn. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. It is adjourned at 8:03 p.m.